What's up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Today I took shorts and made about 500 bucks across the two fundeds. Would have been a lot more, but I fat fingered when I was trying to order my TPs because the second I entered the trade, it literally ran to my first TP. And then I was like, oh shit, I need to like TP right now. And then I like panicked. And then instead of market buying back the position to take profit, I market sold. So I accidentally added onto the position and I was like, oh shit. And then I just ended up closing the trade because I just panicked, which is kind of annoying. So I only got out with basically 1R at half size. So basically zero point 0.5 R on my normal risk, which is a little annoying, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm grateful for the win. Ended off this week green after like a really rough last week of trading. Uh, would have ended this week off fully green on every single day I traded if I had proper stop loss placement on Monday too, which is really cool in terms of like a learning lesson and just seeing me develop as a trader, especially after like the losing streak I went on last week. I don't know if I record videos for those, but okay. Anyways, I'll go into the day here, walk you guys through like what my thought process was and like why I took the trade. So going into the day, there was this SMT right here with that we made with ES at this low. Can I draw, please? Thank you. At this low, and I faded it. I didn't really care about it because there was this new week opening gap right here that's unfilled. And then if you look on the daily time frame, we are really high in premium. We still haven't even tapped zero point 0.5 on the daily range, right? So I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna lean more bearish today. Plus, on the 4 hour, we are still in a higher time frame sell model. Inverse fair value gap here, order block, propulsion block here, and then we displace lower. And I think this SMT was only put in place for us to retrace back to hourly discount or hourly equilibrium before continuing lower. All right, so that's kind of what I was thinking going into the day. So we zoom in on the lower time frames. I literally sat and did nothing for 2 hours today until like 5 minutes ago when I took the trade. So here's open, at open, we immediately pump, and then we tap into 15-minute. I think it was a 15-minute discount, but I didn't really care about it because the hourly range looked a lot more obvious. And here comes the first trade. So I took 3 trades today. 2 were break even. 1 was the win. Where is that first trade? So I took this 2-minute short right here, right after we tapped into hourly equilibrium. Boom. And I went break even after we swept this low, and then it instantly went back on me. So the break even did save me there, thankfully. And I think the reason why it did that is because at the time, the only indice that hit equilibrium of the 1 hour range was NQ. All right, so there was like a bit of a divergence, you could say, with where price was in terms of the range. So I think that's why we went up here, and then we obviously didn't resweep this high. But on ES, we came up and then reswept this high, and then at this high right here on ES was when it tapped 50%. Now both indices have tapped 50%. Now at this point, I'm like, okay, there's really no reason for us to go higher right now if we're bearish. So I'm going to look for another short. So what ends up happening is we put in this SMT. Can I draw? Thank you. We put in this SMT, and then I see on the 30-second this inverse. And I'm like, bet, if we get strong displacement through this, I'm gonna take a short. So I took a short, stop was right here, and then my first TP was gonna be at this low, or at this low. That's negative R. Okay, I thought this was 1R. But yeah, so you can clearly see that the second this closed, I waited for a retrace. So I got tapped in right here when we retraced back into the inverse. My stop was right here, and then I was gonna take it down to this low here, go break even here, and scale out half the position at 1.4R. So what ended up happening is I got tapped in and we just instantly dumped in like literally 1 second. We just dumped to my first TP. So I was like, oh shit, I didn't set my limits yet for TPs. So I started panicking, like I was saying earlier. And instead of buying back half my position, I sold another 50% on top. So I added on, and I was like, oh shit, I did not mean to do that. Um, and I panicked and I closed the position, which is fine. I mean, it happens. It's just a technical error. You can't really do too much about it except, hopefully do better next time and not panic, right? Or actually press the buy button instead of the sell button if you're taking profit on a short. But you can see how, like, if I held onto this trade, it would have been like, I mean, obviously I would have scaled out, but this probably would have been like a 2.5 hour trade, but it ended up being a 0.5 hour trade. So it is what it is. I'm just grateful to be green on the week. That's really all that matters. And just to remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So after I took that and I was like, oh shit, I only got 0.5 R. I was like, okay, I don't mind taking a re-entry here because I saw this 2 minute gap. So in my head, I was like, again, we already tapped into 50% of the range. What do you call it? 50% of the range. There's really no reason for us to go lower here. One of my rules is only taking one trade a day, but I breached it because like that was only a 0.5 hour trade, so like it doesn't really count as a trade. Maybe that's just like terrible psychology on my end, but I mean I didn't mind taking a loss if this got inverse, so I thought it was a really good setup anyway. Um, and if I did take a loss on this, I would have only ended off the day with negative 0.5 R. So I really didn't mind taking a second trade. So, anyways, we inverse this, and I'm not gonna lie, I did hesitate because of this candle. It's like we we dumped a bunch, and then we like retraced the candle, and then that happened. So then I wanted to see like what this next candle did. So this next candle opened up, and it dumped like about 1 minute into the 2 minute candle, and at that point I was like, okay, I'm just gonna jump in this. So I jumped in here. The stop was kind of around this order block right here. And then I went break even after we swept this low. And then you can see that it just went back to my entry and then stopped me out at break even. And at that point, I was like, okay, we're outside the macro. We're about basically outside of the macro time. I'm just going to be done for the day and just take my profit that I was able to secure on the day. One thing I wanted to note too is this short was during the macro time too, which was like a little extra confluence right here. The candle closed 30 seconds before the macro opened, which is sick. Yeah, but yeah, kind of sucks that I fat fingered and I closed the position too early. But I'm grateful for the win. Hope you guys enjoy your 3 day weekend. If you guys don't know, Monday is gonna be a bank holiday, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday if I take a trade on Tuesday. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a good one. Hope you have a blessed rest of your day and your weekend, and I will see you guys soon.